welcome to the Sharpe Way show. So glad you guys are talking with me this evening. It is 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and here I am. Yes, Monday, Ask Me Anything. I'm so happy you all are here. And as always, please like, comment, share. I know I bug you, but some of you forget. I see people are watching. I don't see all the likes and comment buttons being popped and everything, so I know you're forgetting. So please hit that like, hit that love, comment, say something. Get those algorithms going so that people will follow this, and it's how we get past our media blockout, our media blockade. That's how we get around it. And of course, if you've got the cash, do me a favor, support the show. Patreon.com/Sharpe Way. You got some big dollars, throw me $100 a month. That's great. Helps me move all this stuff forward. Take care of my team and everything. If you can't, no worries. $10 is fine. If you're not in that good of a spot, no worries whatsoever. You can help me out by helping out my sponsors. Head on over to www.theadvocates.org. Did I give my age away by saying www? Head over to theadvocates.org, and that is where the world's smallest political quiz is. Please take that quiz, but more important, share your results with others and allow others to see where they stand. A lot of people think that test is heavily libertarian. It is, but in reality, you may not know this, the actual outcome, about 30% of the people who take it come out centrist. Yes, centrist. Only about 30% come out libertarian. 40% is divvied up between the rest. So please do it if you can. I would love it. That would help me out tremendously. And if you are a CBD user and you actually think it's good for you, and I happen to think it's a good idea, you have some anxiety, head over to grownselection.com. Purchase CBD products, put in Sharpe Way 20 for 20% off, and you make my sponsors happy if you can't do it yourself. Monday, AMA, Ask Me Anything, and the title I put up was, What Have We Learned? Lessons learned from this election. And I want to start, there are many of them. There are many lessons that we could have learned, and I mean Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, we all could have learned from this election. I think it was eye-opening for many of us. And the biggest thing I want to bring up is, I did not call this election. I didn't say it was going to be Trump or Biden. I just didn't know. But what I did say were two things, and I was right. I said it wasn't going to be a blowout. That I was sure of. It was not going to be a blowout either way. I'd have been surprised if it was. In a way, I kind of wish it was a blowout either way, but I didn't think it was going to be, and it wasn't. And the second thing I said is Trump was not going to win New York. Those two things I was sure of. And that was true. But the actual outcome, I don't know. But what could we actually learn from this? I want to cover Democrats, Republicans, and Libertarians, all three, because I know all three watch the show. I know the biggest chunk is Libertarians who watch the show, but I know Republicans, Democrats also watch. If you're a Democrat, congrats. You've beaten Trump. Good for you. Congrats. At the same time, I want you to realize something. While Trump lost, the Republicans didn't. Republicans did a whole lot better than most Democrats thought they were going to do. It means this is not doesn't mean that all of a sudden America's like, great, we can't wait to go as far left as possible. Clearly, Americans as a whole, there are some Americans who can't wait to go left, of course, but as a whole, clearly, the country is not rushing as fast as they can to the left. Now, the country has been shifting left slowly over the past couple of decades. That's true. But we're obviously not running far left. Biden is not a far lleft candidate, right? Compared to Bernie. I'm sorry, he's left, obviously, but compared to Bernie. And even with that, a lot of Republicans still won their races. Republicans still, they didn't get killed in Congress. They didn't get killed at all. So if I'm a Democrat, I'm not, but if I was, I'd be thinking, you know what? This is not a blowout. We don't have a real mandate. It's time for us to start talking, because even though, again, the most Americans ever voted for Biden, but the second most voted for Trump this time. So still about 70 million Americans said Trump's our guy. So I would keep that in mind. This is not a mandate, Democrats. And the more you yell and scream that it is, the more you're going to see this swap again. The more you attack, the more you're going to see a swap again. I remember watching CNN, Van Jones, won the initial results that are coming out. Van Jones said, we didn't do as well as we wanted to do. This is a lesson for the Democratic Party. And I thought, oh, Van Jones is going to say something smart here. He learned a lesson. Okay, Van, tell us. What words of wisdom do you have for us? Amazing. He said, we didn't do enough to get the minority vote out. And I thought, that is exactly the opposite of what you should be saying. What the Democratic Party did, and I think a lot of people see that now, is there was a lot of alienation. A lot of people, I mean, if you think about this, and this goes for Democrats and Republicans, the Democrats demonized Trump and the Republicans demonized Democrats, right? They demonize each other. They're all evil and horrible, and the world's going to end if either one of them wins, and the world's going to end. And it was still basically a 50-50 split. It wasn't 80-20, like, oh, we all believe Trump's going to kill us, or we all believe Biden's going to kill us. That didn't happen. And with that not happening, Van Jones shouldn't be saying, well, you know what we should have done? More minorities. No. What Democratic Party should be thinking right now, and a lesson I hope they're going to learn, is not more minorities. Minorities, yes, but more everybody. Everybody. White people too, right? And particularly white males. Yeah, I know that seems like, if you're a Democrat, that seems like the people you can beat up now. I get it, but it's a bad idea. How about we include everybody, right? That's a good thing. I hope Democrats will see this was not the blowout they thought it was going to be, and that maybe it's time for them to make an adjustment, right? Their rhetoric as a general rule is not bad rhetoric. It talks about, inclusiveness and egalitarianism and all these nice warm fuzzy words. Nice rhetoric, absolutely. But it also seems to be heavily pushed upon only people who are in the minority or protected classes. It seems to be pushed heavily towards that. Again, not a bad thing. I want you to include everybody, but let's not alienate others. And I say this because many of my friends are white, and when they watched the Democratic Party, this was one of their complaints, and it was a complaint I heard often. It wasn't like one guy said, "These Democrats." A lot of people said that, and these are actually people who are Democrats. Some of them still voted Biden because they hated Trump, right? I know a lot of my friends who don't hate Republicans; they just hated Trump. This now goes to Republicans now. If I can give you something you should be thinking about right now, if there's a lesson to be learned, Republicans, you've got to change your rhetoric. I know I heard it all the time for the last 4 years. Facts don't care about your feelings, all that kind of stuff. Well, you know what? Elections care about feelings a whole lot. Elections are emotional. And Republican Party wasn't dismissed this year, but Trump was. He's going to be a one-term president. That's a dismissal. I know that makes some of you Trump supporters unhappy to hear. I know, and maybe there's going to be some kind of legal challenge, but it's not going to work. I know some of you are angry. You hear that? I'm just telling you here's my opinion. I don't think it's going to work. And I think the example is when Fox News begins to walk away, when you see a lot more mainstream Republicans begin to walk away from Trump, I think he's not going to win this thing. I think he's going to lose it. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. My gut says he's not going to win this thing. And why am I saying this to you? If you're a Republican, you supported Trump. Rhetoric matters. How it feels matters, right? I know, because whenever Republicans get mad at me, first thing they do is fact, 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 fact. And I go, okay, I'm not fighting you on that. What I'm talking about is, man, that sounds horrible. And what I always get in my turn is, yeah, but that's the facts. That's not how elections work. Elections work on emotion too. And I just gave Democrats advice. I'm going to give Republicans advice. You didn't ask for it, but you can, I guess you can turn off, I guess. Please don't turn off. Please keep watching. But I'm giving you advice because emotions matter. Got to have better rhetoric. Got to have things that sound and feel better. That idea of facts don't care about your feelings, that works in math and that works in science. That does not work at all when it comes to elections. I now want to go to, why do I bring this up? Because Bush gave us Obama, Obama gave us Trump, and Trump gave us Biden. This is hopefully a lesson for both sides. If you don't do it right, America swings that pendulum. That's what we do. We've been swinging that pendulum, and we swung it again. So the writing's on the wall. For libertarians, there are things that are going to make you unhappy too, what I'm going to say. Just realize something. We have to stop acting like what looks good in our world looks good outside. It doesn't. It doesn't. And I'm going to attack myself in this always, as I always do. When I point my finger at you, I point my finger at myself first. When I got 2% in my election, Many libertarians went, oh, that's not bad, Larry, it's good. You got ballot access. You got 2%. It's not bad in New York. And in the libertarian world, not bad. 2%, not bad. Outside the libertarian world, I'm just a loser who got 2%. That's how everyone outside of the Libertarian Party sees me. Some inside. But surely outside, I'm just some guy who got 2%. Oh, you lost. Another loser. That's how people see it. I'm not mad at that. I expected that, and I expect that now. I now have to be adult enough to be able to say, okay, I got my ass handed to me. Now, how do I make things better? What can I do to make things better in either help others or me get better? After this year's elections, we had some stars without question. Harrington, Rainwater, and oh my God, the people who won in Wyoming and out there in California. Oh my God, we had some stars. Absolutely. We should clap our hands and say amazing for those stars. For the rest of us, we got our ass kicked. 2%'s not great, period. Now, to be clear, within libertarian world, good. Yay, nice. But the rest of the world outside of our pond doesn't see that. And we, as libertarians, have to stop saying, that's good enough. It's not. 2% is not good enough. Period. I'm not saying start wallowing in our fear, but here's what I'm sorry, wallowing in our pity. But there's two things that happens in our party constantly. One, we get our 2% and we either go, we're great. That's great. That's enough. We achieved some goal we decided, and let's just keep doing it again and again and again. Terrible idea. Been doing it for 40 years. Let's stop that. Or the opposite. We got 2%. This sucks. I'm never coming back. Also a bad idea. And we see that constantly. You get 2%, you quit, or you think it's great and you copy the same thing again and again. And I'm going to run again now and change nothing. Or I'm going to encourage others to run and change nothing. This is a bad idea. Instead, let's accept 2% is an ass kicking. Got it. Okay. How do we get better so we don't get our ass kicked again? These are the lessons we got to start thinking about. I put out my plan, and if you guys don't like my plan, no worries. You can please put out your own. I'm happy to talk about it. You can try to correct mine. You know I am open to that. But I want a plan so we stop getting 2% and stop being happy with it. It's not good enough. It's not making change. We're not taking advantage of what we should take advantage of. And the people who did good, like Rainwater, as an example, he learned. He didn't do so well in his elections before, local elections. He learned and got better and then knocked it out of the park this time. We had some stars. Let's get more stars. And that's by accepting that 2% is garbage and we can do better and we must do better and stop just doing the same thing. Let's start running less candidates with better teams and more money and start doing some real damage. That's my view on the lessons that we should be learning from this one. Let me grab some comments. A lot of comments up here, guys. I want to grab some of those so we can keep going. So thank you guys from Tokyo. Appreciate that. Absolutely. Mostly to your clean shave, Larry looking sharp. Yes, I did trim a little bit. That's all. I did. Absolutely. Brace yourself. The Republicans are about to care about the national debt again. Well, Pete, it's okay. I'll take it, right? This may not be the best way for them to care. I wish they would have cared more when Trump was president, but still, look, I'll take what I can get. If Republicans care about debt again, all in. Please, Republicans, if you're watching, care about the debt. Pete is right. Yes. Watching you on YouTube because I'm tired of the Facebook censorship. John, I'm with you. I have added more and more. I've added more and more platforms, right? As of this week, I will come up with, I'll let everyone know, I'm going to be on about 16 total platforms, something like that. So I'm going to start opening this up to the best of my ability to make that happen. I am going to start working on that if I can. I'm going to start working to get more and more so that I can begin to expand multiple pages, all those things. So I'm with you. We have to start working on this. What did you learn from this election? I learned that we need to start campaigning early. Yes, absolutely, Ryan. Yes. I'm already talking about, believe it or not, I'm already talking about our New York City mayoral candidate. I'm already talking about it already. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Yes. I took the other day. I was 100% libertarian. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you guys taking the test at theadvocate.org. Thank you. Viewing from Indiana here, could you please comment on the recent governor's race here and what we should be doing as a party moving forward? Yes, and I just mentioned Rainwater was great. I mean, this is the type of thing that we want to be doing, exactly that, right? And what I don't want to do is, look, I ran for governor in New York, only pulled 2%, but I built up a little bit of credibility here. Not much, but a little bit. And I didn't immediately rush off to run for president. Did you notice that? I didn't run for president. Right. I only jumped on a VP train for a couple of weeks when the judge decided, hey, Larry, I need you or I'm not going to run. Fine. I jumped on that support train for a couple of weeks. But that was it. I don't think that rainwater, my personal opinion, by the way, you asked for my comment. I will tell you my comment. I don't think rainwater should immediately step up and move towards president. I don't think that's necessarily the right answer for him yet. I think instead he should take advantage of the now name recognition he has in his party in Indiana, support some other candidates next year, as I've done. Again, I don't point my finger at someone else. Let's point at myself first. I think he should follow that and find candidates that he believes are valuable, that are worthy of his time and energy and money and cachet. Spend it on them, trying to move them forward too. And then I'd consider another statewide run in 2 or 4 years. That's my opinion, but I think that's what I believe he should do. It's my opinion. What we should be doing as a party, without question, is understanding that there's a difference between candidate, advocate, volunteer, donor. There's a difference between those four. Each of them is important. Each has different roles, and let's not mix them. Let's not mix them. I don't want to push a volunteer into running. I don't want to turn a candidate into an activist. I don't want to turn an activist into a candidate. Now, if we do any of those things, and we do it constantly, remember what hat you're on. What I hear all the time is, I'm going to run for office so I can yell about liberty. You can just yell about liberty. I do. I'm not running for anything. You can just yell about liberty. And instead, you can support someone who has an opportunity to actually win or make impact in a race. And impact means that people see them, get them moving towards the party. So my whole point, and I know people think I'm wrong here, but I'll keep saying it. I think it's critical that we stop running so many candidates and instead run less of them, backed with more bodies, more help, more assistance, and more money. All of those things. And if you want to be an activist, please be we need activists. Without activists, nobody cares, right? We need activists to go out and get people to care. We need people to talk about the issues that matter, right? Of course. But the candidate's job is not to talk about issues. The candidate's job is to come up with solutions and to solve the problems, hopefully that the people care about because the activist has told them it's a problem, right? That's the issue. The biggest problem that we have as libertarians when it comes to liking candidates is we like candidates who talk to us. I get it, but we're maybe 2% of the population, clearly by the votes we get. That's not going to get us an election, right? So when you ask somebody, what are you going to do about whatever, education? And they go, let me tell you a history lesson and why the government's bad, and then some libertarian rhetoric. That candidate's going to lose badly. Badly. You have to have an actual plan. Now, if you're an activist, not a candidate, 100% educate them. Tell them how bad the government was. Tell them why it's the government's fault. Yeah, absolutely. Give libertarian rhetoric. Yes, you're an activist. Please do that. That's exactly your job. If you're a candidate, give them an answer. If you don't have an answer, why the hell are you running? That's what I think. All right. I learned that the media can anoint the president-elect. Who knows? It's David. It's true, right? The media outlets decided that Biden won. That's true. Yes, you're right. Thank you for spreading the word of Libertarian Party. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Yes. All right. Facebook is telling me that they are having problems playing this video, both accounts. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I got a feeling. Maybe I should stop being Larry Sharpe, comma libertarian, and stop being just Larry Sharpe, some guy. Maybe I should do that instead. That could be the issue. Yes. I like the second test on the advocates. It's a human respect quiz. It is, yes. For those of you who want to keep going, there are more quizzes on the advocates. I just wanted to get you guys involved in that issue. There's more quizzes. There's more tests you can take to see kind of where you stand and what you're thinking. The glory of the advocates.org is that it gives you something to send to others that start talking about issues, right? It's talking about actual issues, not talking about personal things, right? That's what I love about it. That's a critical piece, right? And then let me show this to you if you don't mind. Watch this for just a minute. Hey, Larry Sharpe, host of the Sharpe Way, and I know what you're thinking. Election's over. Holiday season is here. I've got to have conversations with family and friends after this. I know it can be tough. How do you restart that? How do you reconnect? It's all about respect, guys. It's about mutual respect, human respect, respect for our family and friends. Well, how do you rebuild that? How do you make that happen now? You find some common ground. How do you do that? You head on over to theadvocates.org, take the world's smallest political quiz. It's 1 minute, just 1 minute. You take that 1 minute, all of a sudden now, you now share that, send it to your friends. You start talking about things that matter to you, not about people you love, not about people you hate, but instead about issues that matter to you. Bring that back, have that common ground, find that mutual respect, find that human respect. Take this test and share it, theadvocates.org. So thank you for watching that. You gave me the opportunity to pump my sponsor, so I did. Thank you. Appreciate that, James. Absolutely. Yes. All right. So look, the at least they may come to some compromises. Okay, I think Democrats actually might. And it's going to sound crazy. I know some of you on the left and the right are going to be unhappy when I say this, because I know a lot of people on the left really want Democrats to just go full Bernie. I don't think they will, because of what I said earlier. This wasn't a sweep, right? America did not dismiss the Republican Party. It didn't. Republicans did much better than a lot of people thought. So I think if Biden is going to have any kind of legacy, right, whatever that is, I think he's going to have to compromise. And the advantage of Biden, and there are a lot of disadvantages, but there is one advantage, and I always try to give people credit where credit is due, and there is one advantage to Biden, and that advantage is he's been around so long that he actually knows, the Republican establishment. He's worked with them in the past. There is a chance, I'm hoping for a good one, but there is a chance that they will come to some compromises and try to get something done. It could happen. I hope so, okay? I really do. I don't think, again, because of the way the election went, I don't think the country's going to rush to the left. I don't see it. I think the AOCs of the world and the Bernies of the world are going to be unhappy with the Biden presidency in general. I think after 2 years or 3 years or 4 years or whatever, whenever he begins to kind of fade away, then the country might move more towards the left, depending upon how the 2022 elections go. If 2022 elections shift more towards Republicans, I think it's not going to go far left. If all of a sudden Democrats sweep for some reason, that doesn't usually happen. It's very rare that would happen. Usually the party that's in power loses in midterms. So I think we're actually okay. Okay, I think we are. That's just my view. We'll see. So the treatment of Republicans by Democrats for the last 4 years has beyond disturbing. They attacked his supporters, destroyed cities, and shot Republicans playing softball. I remember that. That was bad. Yeah, this is what I would ask Democrats and Republicans both. I would ask both. If you're a Democrat, I would ask you, please don't become what you painted Republicans as. You painted Republicans as mean and nasty and all these things. Don't become that, right? If you're going to paint them as all these bad things, don't be hypocritical. Now step above, right? Do that. I think Chris is right. You're right. You don't need to do that now. You've won. Don't be jerks. You won a presidency. Don't be what you claim they were. Don't be that. Republicans, I say the same thing. Don't be what you claim Democrats were. Don't do either one. I agree. So close elections prove the lesser of two evils isn't much less evil. Evil is evil. Yeah, see, there we go. I like that. I like the way you say that. It's good. We learned that Trump's mediocre policy and lack of candor cannot beat shitty policy and coddling. Well, I think there's something to that, right? There's something to that. But it goes back to the same thing I just talked about, though. Matt, it becomes emotions matter in politics. They do, and it drives people crazy. I know people, whenever I say, they go, yeah, but this thing. There's no but this thing. Well, what about this? There's no what about. Emotions matter. No but, no what about. If you don't deal with emotion, one of the things that Trump did so well when he ran the first time was draw the American emotion out. He did really well. But you could tell Trump's better as an outsider. Once he was an insider, wasn't as powerful. But yeah, It does matter. Checks and balances are being shown in this election. We'll see, Paul. Depends on what the courts do. I think, and I think coming up here, though, to the point earlier, Congress and the Senate, the Congress didn't change much. I mean, changed a little bit, but not much. So the President Biden is not going to be able to just, I'm doing what I want. And that's the first time for a while, right? When Bush came in with a Republican Congress. When Obama came in, he came in with a Democrat Congress. When Trump came in with a Republican Congress. Biden doesn't get that. He's got to come in with a Republican Congress. He's got to come in with the opposite party. So let's see if it works. Does this mean the pandemic is over? No, not at all. Cuomo, in case you didn't know, my governor, His Majesty King Andrew II, oh hail the king, he has deemed that the pandemic vaccine is now going to fail because Trump touched it. See, if Trump touches something, it is by default bad. So now, even though they've been screaming for a vaccine forever, this is a vaccine made. I guess somehow Trump made the vaccine. I don't know how that works in Cuomo land, but in his world, if Trump touches it, it is therefore evil. So the Trump vaccine, which is what he's going to call it, is no good. So the pandemic is still in full force until Trump is gone. So once Trump leaves, maybe pandemic's over. But Trump is still president until January 20th. So everything bad that happens is Trump's fault, clearly, as His Majesty says. Everything's his fault. If your car doesn't start this morning, Pete, that's because Trump did it. He had a ninja mask on, cut some wires, does it all. Yes. So, and not rush deporting DACA recipients and would-be applicants. I'm not sure where that comes from, but I think you're right. I don't think they will start. I think immigration has an actual chance of having some type of at least Band-Aid. They don't actually want to fix immigration because it's a really good wedge issue. So, but is a Band-Aid possible? Yes, particularly a Band-Aid that will last about 2 or 3 or 4 years. So they can now start yelling about immigration again in 2024. But a Band-Aid, I think, is probably appropriate. Is the Federal Reserve printing ballots? That's funny. I like that. They should. They could print as many as they want. Absolutely. Yes. So the media wouldn't even bother to cover the record number of African Americans who ran for Congress and the Senate. I'm not sure that's true. I saw 3 or 4 shows this weekend that all talked about that. CNN discussed that. John Oliver discussed it on his show. I'm not sure if Bill Maher did. Chris Wallace did. I'm pretty sure on his show. So I think some did. I think he did. I think they did start. They did. Don't get me wrong, not crazy, but they covered it. It's true. It sounds like you're going either media projection of Biden has won. I am being careful watching these lawsuits. I think the media did, and I think for good or for bad, I think they really do project the winner. I know some of you are like, but that's not legal. Correct. Not legal, right? Not legal. The Electoral College decides who the president is. That's legal. I think the American people, they buy it, right? As a general rule, once CNN and Fox say someone's the president, Americans, as a general rule, there's some exceptions. We generally go, oh, okay, that's the president. And Americans are electors. The electors are Americans. The people who are in Congress, they care about the Americans who elect them. So I think even though it is absolutely not legal, I think it is actually true. If both of them say that's true, I think the average person will simply agree with it. And because of that, the representatives, because they fear their constituents, I think they'll agree too. I think that does make it true, even though it's not legal. I don't know if that makes any sense what I'm saying. I'm trying to be realistic on what I think actually happens versus what's legal. So Trump's base will harden if they attack. I think you're right. And that's why I don't want that, right? I mean, there was something just recently on Facebook. People are talking about a lot of people who are on the right leaving Facebook and going to Parler. Now, a lot of people go, oh, that's great, right? Going to politics, awesome, good for them, nice, whatever. And the left is like, yeah, good riddance. And the right's like, yeah, we got our own place. And I'm saying that's not healthy for us. I don't want Trump supporters to harden and get attacked. I'd rather us not attack Trump supporters and not have them harden and respond in kind. I'd rather us talk to people who support Trump and people who support Biden and all of us. I know it seems weird when I go through this. I know some of you get tired of me talking about this. But who else is saying that? Who else is honestly saying, and who else is open? I mean, so many people I hear, they just jump on one side, attack the other, and claim their guy's great. And I'm saying, let's give credit where credit is due. Let's try to get things done. Let's look at reality, not just what we wish is to be true. Look at reality and how things actually work and try to have a better country. I don't want to push this. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be responsible at all for doing anything that pushes this country further into division and further into violence. I don't want to be responsible for any of that. I want to know in my heart if that's where it's going. I hope it's not. I don't want to go there. I have a family and kids. I don't want them to grow up in this. I don't want any of you to grow up in this either. I don't want that to happen. So I don't want to be responsible for it, and I want to do everything I can to not make that happen. My daughter and I, it's going to sound crazy, but it's related. My daughter and I were talking about an anime that she likes. She likes an anime, Attack on Titan. Some of you may like that, know what that is. It's a Japanese anime. And in this animation, in this world, it's another world where giants attack humans. Right? I'm going to give you any details. Some of you don't care. If you want to watch it, you'll watch it. But the way you have to kill these giants is you can only attack them in the back of the neck. That's the cartoon. Please don't get me started. Right? But that's how you have to kill them. So I said, well, why? And this is like medieval times type stuff. They have cannons and arrows and things like that. So I said, well, why don't they have an arrow that they shoot in the back of the neck of the giant and explodes and kills them? That's what I would do. It's like an armor-piercing arrow. And she goes, oh, what's that like? So I then decide, long story, but I'm telling you, it makes sense here. You're going to watch where I'm going with this, AG. I am. All right, so I decided to show her the movie Fury. If any of you have seen the movie Fury, it's a World War II movie about a tank crew. Brad Pitt is in the movie, and they use all different types of rounds. They include an armor-piercing round, and a high-explosive round. They use smoke rounds, white phosphorus rounds. I want to show her how these different rounds work. So she said, well, I want to see the whole movie, Larry. So we watched the entire movie. So she called me Dad, not Larry. She says, so I want to watch. So we watched the whole movie. And during the movie, there's a very important part. He's driving in Germany, and they're fighting the war. It's the end of the war. And a young kid's like, why are we doing this? Why are we still fighting? Whatever. And he goes, and Brad Pitt, the tank commander, says, we just got to keep fighting. He said, this war is going to end. But before it ends, a lot of people have to die. And my daughter was like, what? I was like, yeah. Isn't that stupid? The war is going to end. And in this case, Germany's going to lose. But a lot more people have to die. Why? I would ask the same of us fighting this political battle. Are we going to push ourselves into violence where more people have to die? For what? Why? We could just talk. I'll ask those of you libertarian. Did you ever see the movie? I think it's Netflix. Waco. Not movie. It's just it is a movie. Yes, Waco. Did you ever see the Waco movie? It's about, of course, Waco, Texas, the Branch Davidians. And when the government comes to attack the compound, they surround the compound and the whole deal, and they start to have a conversation. The ATF agents come to talk to the Branch Davidians, and like, how are you going to surrender and blah, blah. And one of the Branch Davidians says, you could just leave. We can go back to doing our thing. You could just leave. And that was such a foreign idea to the ATF agent. It was like, what? Leave? We've already decided that you're evil. So now people have to die. Duh. I don't want us to go there. Whether it's World War II or Waco 20 years ago. 20 years ago? A little more, right? But 20 years ago. So either one of those two. I don't want that to happen. So I'm with you, AJ. I don't want anybody's base to harden and even be attacked. because I don't want us to move towards violence. We're divided enough. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Yes, Elvis Costello. I'm giving away my my age. It was because Trump is a trash mouth a-hole, not about his policy, and it's sad. You know, there's some validity to that, and that's what I was talking about earlier, right? There's some to that, right? The thing you find is Republicans that I know who support Trump will still tell me the same thing every time. They'll go, I wish he would stop with the Twitter. The amount of times I've heard that, dozens, maybe hundreds in the last 4 years, I've heard that so often from Republican friends of mine. These are New York City Republicans, right? They support Trump. And again, New York City Republicans are not hardcore Republicans. They're much more mainstream, middle of the road Republicans. Generally speaking, New York City Republicans are much more middle of the road. And they're like, stop with the Twitter. Why has he got to be that way? I heard that all the time. And you're right. It isn't about his policy. It's about people didn't like him. It didn't feel good. The rhetoric was bad. There's some truth to what you're saying. There is. With the younger generation for the far left government, what is your opinion on how they can affect the growth of the Libertarian Party? Look, as a general rule, we have to realize something. When it comes to the left, in many cases, the outcome that they want and the outcome that libertarians want very often are similar outcomes. It's just the way to get there we completely disagree on, right? They think, well, for me to get there, I have to use lots and lots of government force and laws and make people do stuff and force people to comply and socialism and government control, centralized control. What other way is there? That's how they think. If we can get them to say, no, you can get some of the cool stuff you want. We'll show you another way that won't make every Republican in the country want to fight you. I think that's how we deal with it, Brian. Most of the younger left, they don't understand actually what socialism means. And I don't mean this in an intellectual way. I mean at what actually happens. If you're reading books about communism and reading books about socialism, it actually sounds amazing. Oh my God, read this stuff. It sounds amazing. But then go there, live there, feel it, be it, what actually happens. Wow. Right? And most of them don't see that. They didn't grow up during Cold War like I did. They didn't grow up seeing that, right? They didn't know people who fled from communist. I had guys who fled from communist Romania in boot camp with me, right? When I was in the Marine Corps in the 80s, right? So that kind of thing, that's what I dealt with, right? So they don't deal with, the youth don't understand that. They look at socialism almost like, cool Uncle Bernie or hot AOC. That's kind of how they see it. So our goal has to be, look, we can get the goals that you want. There's another way. This goes back to what I was talking about. The more answers we have, the better chance they will follow us. I had a lot of Democrats follow me during my gubernatorial race. And it was because I gave them answers, right? Answers to education, answers to healthcare. Because does the average Democrat or even far left, does the average person the average person, not the leadership, the average person, do they really want single payer healthcare? No, they actually don't know what that means. They don't know what that is. They actually don't know what that actually means. They don't actually want that. They want to feel comfortable and safe with their healthcare. That's what they want. They've been told from the left, here's an answer. It's single payer. That's the only way. From the right, they've heard nothing. 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 From libertarians, let the free market handle it. That's not an answer. That's libertarian rhetoric. Of course they walk away from that. Of course they do. When I had actual plans, here's how you make it work, they went, oh, I like that. And that's what they came to me. So I think that's how we do it. Remember, most of the people in the far left don't actually care about communism or socialism. They don't know. They don't care. They want to feel comfortable in something. And the rhetoric matters. The right rhetoric on things like healthcare, and it's terrible rhetoric. And libertarian rhetoric is even worse. Just terrible rhetoric. So they don't get it. They walk away. So, all right. Of course, Pete, thank you. $27 trillion debt every single time. Thank you. You are correct. I agree completely. Recount is happening, boys. I think it is. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Recounts rarely work. I don't think it's going to work. But again, look, to be forward, if it works, awesome. Good to go. If I'm going to bet, I'm not betting on that. I'm not betting on that. We beat these political machines in their own game. We run with libertarian ideas under R, just like socialists did by letting them under with D. Yeah, but it didn't really work for America. It didn't. We did that. There was literally a libertarian caucus in the Republican Party. Justin Amash started it, and then he left because it wasn't working. And so it didn't really work. The Ds, it works, but there's a difference. The Ds have a different way of doing it. The Ds have a separate party sitting and waiting. It's called the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. And they're just holding it right there, waiting. The second that Democratic Party doesn't do what they want them to do, then they'll just separate. They're waiting. So they're not really, I mean, they're aligning themselves, yes, but they're not really running under that, right? The socialists, believe it or not, the actual socialists in America didn't align themselves with the Ds. They aligned themselves with the Greens. Howie Hawkins is was, right, the election's over, he was the official socialist candidate in America. He actually, they aligned with the Greens, not Democrats. They have separate parties. I think we should have separate parties too. I do. I don't see the taking over working. It just doesn't. We simply have to have a charismatic person, top of our ticket, to move people to think that we're important and valuable, to get people to care about us so that we can move forward, right? This is the point that I brought up before. Look, as libertarians, for those of you who are libertarian, who identify as libertarian, we can't, no excuses. No excuses. I hear it all the time. Well, he would have done better. She would have done better, but the Democrats did this, but the Republicans did that. They're always going to do that. It's never going to be fair. Democrats and Republicans sue each other. Of course they're going to sue us. They're going to hammer us far worse. The press is never good to us. We always have to fight for press. That's how it works. It's never fair. It's never going to be fair. These are just BS excuses. Stop with the excuses. Make the changes. Look at the world you're fighting in. Look at your battleground. How do you deal with the theater that you're in? How do you fight effectively with the tools that you have? I am a Marine. That's how I think. Excuses don't win wars. You find out how to win in the environment you have, the tools that you have, and you fight until you have no more means to resist. Done. That's how I think. So I get what you're saying, Eric. People have thought that. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. I've seen so many people just back out. Look at Austin Peterson now. He's going to start a Tea Party 2.0. Is that his new thing now? He can't even survive in the Republican Party. So I don't know. I don't see it working. I don't see it working. So yes. Third party candidates in Minnesota pulled nearly 10% in a few. Yeah, these are the stars, Joseph. These are the stars. These are stars. Yes. Let's keep doing that. Let's keep breaking 10%. Let's keep doing that. That's a home run. Yes. Hey, Larry, thanks for continuing to speak up every week. Yes, I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop. Yes. King Andrew says he's not going to Washington. He's staying in New York to finish the job. Ouch, scary shit. Finish job of what? He's been stabbing us for years. He's going to finish us off. He's going to put us in the coffin and then put the nails in. Is that it? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's terrible. Terrible. Yes. Your strategy of focusing on the best L candidates in small L winning states is brilliant. How do we convince the L delegates? I don't know, Jason. I've been talking about this since I ran. I learned all these lessons when I got my 2%, when I got my ass whipping, when I got my ass whipping in New York State. That's when I learned. I went through that. I saw it all happen. I saw how things were rigged. I saw how things were different. I saw how things were unfair. I watched it happen in front of my own eyes. I tried to fight to fix it, and I couldn't. I tried to make things better. My team tried, and they were lost. Didn't know how to do things either. They were lost too. At the end, we were pretty good at the end. For those of you who are on my team, if you're watching now, you know, at the end of the campaign, we were pretty good. It was just too late. By the time we had learned our lessons to rock and roll, it's too late. There was just not enough time to make up all that we had lost. So what did I do? I didn't go, we got 2%, we're awesome, sit on my laurels and become great. No, I didn't go, that's it, I'm out. Didn't do that either. I said, let me show you what happened. Let me show you guys what I learned. Let's do that. And sadly, most Libertarians said, the hell with Larry Sharpe. We got 2%. Not listening to him. I'm going to go get my own 2%. That'll show him. You didn't teach me anything, guys. You didn't show me anything. So you win, I guess. I don't know. I'm telling you what I went through. I ran the biggest campaign since Gary Johnson, right prior to this one, obviously. Made the biggest errors and had the biggest successes, all mixed and matched all together, trying to show you what happened. I told the candidate, I told the delegates exactly what was going to happen. I told them what was going to happen. I gave videos. I told them, and they went, we don't care. So I don't know, Jason. I'll just keep talking, and I'm hoping they'll figure it out. If they won't, then I'll just run local, or someone else will run local, and we'll win locally until national will eventually figure stuff out, or they won't. Oh, they won't. What am I going to do? I got to keep fighting. I have my leadership that I have, and we keep going. So, yes. Okay. It's funny because it's true. Thank you. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can do this. Is there anything that can be done about AOC's tweet threatening to track and punish Trump supporters? Her tweet 2 days ago. Do you think any Democrats will do the unison thing and censure her, or will they just follow the party lines that are putting the country first? I do not think they'll put the country first at all. So I do not believe that. I think they will do one of two things. Conveniently not see it. What? Was that what happened? What? Who said what? I think that'll be one. And then if that's the case, they will broad brushly just say, well, I would never support violence or whatever that is. But they're not going to attack AOC. They will either get behind her and validate it in some way, shape, or form. Like, well, it's because Trump was a bad guy or something. That's my view. Or they'll just kind of let it go. They're not sure how much help. Right now, they don't know how much help that they need from the AOC's world yet. They're going to find out in about 3 months. And if they think they can diss her, they will. The establishment, if they can diss AOC, they will diss AOC and hope Bernie goes away, right? Bernie's getting old, they retire, whatever. They're going to hope he goes away and that AOC they can dismiss it. They're going to try to, if they can. But if they need her, then they're going to be quiet. Well, okay, we'll give her a bone. I think that's how it is. Liberals are traitorous monsters. Derek, what I would say is, I will bet liberals would say the same about you. I think each side thinks both. Yes. But Larry, why did you shave? I don't know. I got a haircut and I just took some of it off. That's all. It wasn't a real shave. Just took some of it off. That's all. I don't know. Just, is that bad? I hope I look younger now, right? See, now I can't go to the bar anymore. I'm going to the bar and say, young man, sorry, where's your mom? Is that going to happen? I hope so, Chelsea. I'd feel really good. Maybe I'll get carded again. I haven't got carded in 25 years or so. I don't know how long it's been since I got carded. So maybe I'll get carded. That'd be nice. So yes. I'm glad to find out how many Democrats were low information voters. Helen, what I would tell you is lots of them. Yes, lots. I had on my show Friday, I had Lou Perez on, and we did some of the kind of reviewing of some of his videos. And one of the videos he did is a video he titled, "Stop Making Me Defend Trump." That's the name of the video, right? In the video, he's making fun. It's all comedy. It's all actors, right? It's comedy. He's talking about how, every single thing that Trump says, the second he says it, a bunch of people on the left will start yelling, he's going to kill all the Muslims or whatever. And they just will believe it. And he'd say, no. What he's saying is this. He said, but I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. And it was a joke, but it was based on some real stuff. There's something to be said for your comment. If you have a moment, it was on We the Internet. It's called Stop Making Me Support Trump. Stop Making Defend Trump if you want to watch that video. So, yes. Both sides are awful. I think both sides would agree. Yes. People got feelings. Yes, Kay. They do. Why do we keep forgetting this? They absolutely do. Yes. 100%. As a citizen, the lesson I learned is that we still haven't done much to secure our elections. This, David, this is another great point. And I brought this up months ago. This goes back to the point where the elites in our country don't want to solve problems. I'm not joking on this. And this may sound crazy, but it's not. It's true. They don't want to solve problems. Are you telling me that when COVID hit, both sides absolutely had valid worries and concerns? The left was like, well, wait a minute. We're worried about COVID. What if people who are elderly are afraid to go vote? What if they can't get there? What if the systems aren't there available? Their family and friend doesn't want to go out and blah, blah, blah. Valid concern. Republicans, how are you going to all of a sudden go from, maybe 1 million ballots we send out to all of a sudden 30 million ballots we're going to mail out? How the hell are you going to go from that? How are you going to ensure that's going to be secure? What did we mail out? 50 million, something like that? But at that point, they were talking about 30 million back then. I think it was totally 50 or something like that. But anyway, back then it was 30. And they were talking about that. Valid questions, valid worries. Both of those sides are valid. Are you telling me that we couldn't at that point, to your point, David, we couldn't figure out a system that both Republicans and Democrats could have overseen that would have made both safe and secure mail-in voting? Of course we could have. That would have made both sides happy. We could have used a company like a KPMG, I made this up, or even a BDO. Their job is to audit every single little thing. These are the companies that follow and follow the lotteries of every state that has a lottery, right? And then on top of it, you use a company like a UPS or a FedEx or Amazon or whatever, right? Whatever. And they make deals. And if these accounting firms, if they make an error, they go to jail. And not just the people, the seniors who hold the licenses and all the credentials. They go to jail if they mess this up. And you're telling me they couldn't have come up with a plan? Of course they could have, David. They didn't want to. They wanted to make it a wedge issue. They wanted to be able to fight over. They found another thing to fight over. We could have made this absolutely secure, both sides happy. That was something that we could have done, and we didn't. You're totally right. We could have done. So, yes, the majority of voters are. That was my whole point. Yes, most are. Yeah, gridlock. Gridlock's bad because what gridlock actually means is executive order. That's why I can't stand gridlock, right? If gridlock actually meant gridlock, like stuff doesn't get done, we can just kind of do our own stuff in our states, that might not be a bad thing. But sadly, it actually doesn't mean gridlock. What it means is executive order. And then that means Supreme Court. What gridlock means is the Congress surrenders its ability to do anything. The Congress surrenders responsibility. That's what it actually means. The president does executive orders, and the courts decide if it works or not. So we basically just lose Congress, is what gridlock actually means. I wish it was something else. So I see New York raise the threshold for third parties, voter suppression beginning early in New York. Yeah, absolutely, Tom. But I think we'll get past it. I'm not that concerned. I really want to get past it. I want to recount. I think Jorgensen won. Let's do a recount. I think Jorgensen won too. See, I'm with you. Let's do it. Absolutely. We need to help both sides understand that the other half is not full of inferior people. Yes, Jessica. Yes. Half of the country is not stupid. We need to help them see this, because if we don't, they won't have the faith in people that's necessary for libertarians. We think you can manage yourself. The big two want to manage the other side, and the more the divide widens. Yes, the bigger the government gets. Yes, Jessica. Yes, and yes, absolutely. I'm one of the rare people who, when I say I want you to go vote, even if it's not for my person, I mean that. Of course, I want you to vote for my person. I wish everyone who's watching and listening would have voted for Joe Jorgensen. I wish that would have happened. That'd be amazing. I know that didn't happen, but I wish that would have happened. But even if you didn't, I'm still okay if you vote, because exactly Jessica's point. If you're voting, you care, I have a chance of changing your mind in 2024. But if you're not voting, then I can't change your mind. I didn't think Joe Jorgensen was going to win this year. Of course, I wish she did, but I didn't think she was going to. I was hoping she'd break 5%. I didn't think she would. My guess was 2%. I said that the other day. I thought right under 2%. That was my assumption because of polling, right? As I mentioned before, when it comes to third parties, the highest she had polled was around 4%. She polled between 3 and 4% usually. And as a general rule, third parties will get half of whatever they poll at. She polled at 4. I figured 2. So that was my logic in what I thought for her number. But if you're not voting, if you're not part of the system, I can't change your mind. And I want to change all of your minds. I hope that in 2024, I can get you all to vote Libertarian. That'd be awesome. So, but if you're not voting, then, right? So I'm with you. I want us to start realizing that, we're still Americans. We're still all Americans. So the big question is, what do you think happens with the Georgia runoff elections? If Georgia goes red, the Senate stays red, and it will act as a check on Biden. Gridlock benefits everyone. To be forward, some of you don't know this, but the one of the reasons for the runoff is because we had Shane Hazel. It's one of the reasons, right? We had a Libertarian candidate who got about 2-something%. Is that right? That's impact. That's impact. Let's have more Shanes, right? That's impact. That's what I want to see. We made impact. People are going to start trying to talk about him. Some are not going to be like, well, no, it's just random. But some are actually bringing up the idea of, wow, Libertarian made impact here. That's what I want. So my gut tells me it's going to split. It's not going to be both red. I want to be red, I want to be blue. It's my gut. But who knows? I think it probably split. That'd be my guess. So, all right. Let's see. Larry, would you consider the Jorgensen Cohen campaign a success? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't see any. I don't see the gain. I would not. I would 5% would have been something. More than Gary Johnson would have been something. Winning a state would have been something. Getting an electoral vote would have been something. Gary Johnson's campaign in 2016 made a lot of mistakes. No question. A lot of mistakes. I told them then in 2016, and for those of you who know who were with me in 2016, I tried to be Gary Johnson's VP. Obviously, I lost that. National doesn't listen to me ever. So they didn't listen to me in 2016. They didn't listen to me in 2020. I wanted to be his VP, and my goal was to win a state back then. I thought then it would be New Mexico. I thought it was going to be his state. That obviously was not true, but back in 2016, I believed it was New Mexico. I thought, why don't I just move there, talk about the governor literally 24/7, right, in that state for 30 days straight, maybe 60 days straight, until we find whatever state's doing well. Then I'd move to that state and just cover that state while he would do national press. Me as the VP, I would focus on any state that we could win. That was my goal because I wanted to win an electoral vote. Maybe Nebraska, Maine, whatever. That was my goal. 2020, I wanted the same thing. I wanted to win an electoral vote. I wanted to have I wanted to go whatever. 270 Biden, 268 Trump, 1 Johnson, or in this case, Jorgensen, whomever, right? I was hoping Judge Jim Gray would be selected. Clearly that wasn't going to happen. But then Gray, whatever, so-and-so. That was my hope. I wanted that to happen. So I didn't, 5% would have been fine too. I don't see a success. If you think otherwise, Mike, I'm happy to hear what you think. I don't see anything that happened from it. So I would not consider it that. I wouldn't. The only thing that happened from my campaign, I think, is ballot access, which was something. Still was a loss. Look, I got my ass with 2%, not good. But I did get ballot access. That's something. And I built a team out, right? I built a team out of people who go out there. And by the way, they didn't grab most of my team. So, again, I don't know why they didn't grab most of my team. So I built a team out, and I built out a policy library. They did not use my policy library either, or my policy team either. So, but I built those things out for others to use, Mike. So I wouldn't. So, first year's Res Libertarian and voted L down the ballot. Wanted to connect with more L's. Awesome. Hang around. We're here. Everyone wants to be in the winning team or part of the clique. It's fundamental. No one understands that Libertarians are the trendsetters yet. Ryan, we've got to have a couple of victories. There is no substitute for victory. Isn't. There's no substitute for that. We have to have a couple of victories. And local victories matter. When we start winning in local areas, we keep winning. Like, people start seeing us. People start caring about us. And that's the piece that I think is important. People start seeing us, right? And I want them to keep seeing us. Absolutely. Are you as stoked as I'm that Biden won? I don't like him, but if he survives Tecumseh's Kirsch, then stealing votes from the left will be easy in 2024, Supreme 2024. I'm not stoked at all, right? I mean, no, thank you, David. I'm glad you're stoked. There are tens of millions of Americans who are clearly stoked that Biden won. I'm not one of them. But thank you. With all the unchecked spending by W, Obama, Trump, and everything Biden has promised to commit to us, what happens when we eventually default on our debt? Yeah, I think, and I actually brought this up with a financial guru, Jesus, Don Morgan? Yeah, last week. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, it was last week. It was last week, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm sorry, days kind of blur. Yeah, the odds are they will create some centralized e-coin at one point, right? Because how else do you reboot the money? You have to reboot money at one point, right? That's how you do it. You reboot money in some way, shape, or form. The dollar is going to become useless, so you reboot an e-coin that the government controls. So I think that's the answer. Is the vaccine going to be mandatory? The New York State is already saying they want it mandatory. Literally, if I'm not mistaken, it was the New York State Bar Association. This is lawyers. I want to say it again. This is lawyers in New York State who said should be mandatory. Yes, lawyers who you would think would have read the Constitution and would know that the First Amendment says if you have a religious exemption, and they said in their, the New York State Bar Association said in their decision, or in their, not decision, in their, is it called a declaration? Resolution, thank you. In their resolution, they said it should not matter for religious exemptions. This is lawyers. This is where we are, Chelsea. So I think it's going to be yes. I hope not. I hope not. The country as a whole will be worse off if they knowingly voted. I'm not sure any of that. Yeah, maybe. Larry, I'm Jewish and voted Libertarian. Thank you. I know lots of Jewish people who vote Libertarian. Somehow I am now a fascist white supremacist. Dude, join the club. I have also been called a white supremacist. See? Yes, I've been called it too. Yeah. In case you didn't notice, I'm not white. But that doesn't make me not a white supremacist. Gotta love the non-logic of wokeness. Silence is violence and speech is violence. Time to get rid of the monarchy and restore liberty. I'm with you. Like, yes. Avi, yes. Yes, yes, and yes. Absolutely. Yes. Would you run for president with Amash? Absolutely, I would. I hope he wants to run. He has not told me that he is or isn't. He's given me no information. I have no information. Of course it would. It'd be amazing. Right? Of course I would. Let's hope he wants to do that. But to be forward, I would assist anyone who would run for president in 2024, whether they have me on the ticket or not. That would not change my view. I'd be happy to have anybody who could raise money, who could make impact, who could break 5% or win a state or any of those things you talked about, right? Who could come in with who could come in with over $100,000 already raised, who come with a press reel, who come with a team. He's got all of those things already. He's got money in the bank. So if he's in, I'm in. Absolutely, yes. Yes. It's amazing how many news organizations heard of Joe Jorgensen after the election. Yeah. Now all of a sudden they care. Yes. Screaming taxation is theft doesn't win elections. Also true. Yes. Absolutely. We need Larry to turn around New York first. Yes, I love that, right? That's, of course I want to do that, right? Of course I would rather win a local election. Of course I would. Guys, if you know me at all, you know that I don't just run to run. I say don't do that, so I don't do that, right? I put down my list of things to do for our next presidential candidate, and some people said, well, Larry, why didn't you run? Because I couldn't do those things. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I try to not be a hypocrite. I know I'm human, so I will be one here or there because I'm still human. But I try to not be that. I couldn't do all the things that I think a president candidate should do, so I didn't run. I only run when I think I can make impact. That's when I run. If I think I can make impact in New York, I'm running. If I think I can't, I'm not. If I think I can make impact with Amash, I'll run. If not, I'm not. It literally is that simple. I want to make impact. That matters to me. That's what's most important. Yes. Let's see. Larry, did you see that qualified immunity case is going before the SCOTUS tomorrow? Oh, they are going to see it. Nice. Right. Speaking of Amash and I both came up with the idea, not came up with it, both pushed the idea of qualified immunity, getting rid of qualified immunity when George Floyd was killed. We both came up with it. I thought that the Congress would never, ever pass it, so it has to go through the Supreme Court. He thought Supreme Court will never see it, so they go through Congress. So that's why, of course, he put the bill through, the first tripartisan bill. When that happened, at that point, the Supreme Court said, we're not going to see it. And I was like, okay, guess I'm wrong. Maybe he's right. And then Congress wouldn't put up for a vote. So we were both right or wrong. Have you look at it? So no, I didn't. Someone did mention that to me, actually, Brian. Yeah. I'm hoping that this will be a thing. Qualified immunity is absolutely not the answer. It isn't. It is the beginning of an answer, right? If you just end qualified immunity, nice. I'm not against it. I think it's a good idea. But if you notice, I had a 4-point plan. Qualified immunity was only one part of it. That's not enough. We don't just want to go, okay, qualified immunity, problem solved. No, there's the war on drugs, which is the biggest piece of the whole entire thing, right? It's a system where when you have bad cops, they just keep doing bad stuff. They're never punished. And they move around. And it makes all the good cops look even worse. I don't want to make good cops look bad, right? I just want to punish bad cops, leave good cops alone. Let them do the job. But so qualified immunity, good idea. We have to keep going. It isn't enough by itself. So I think uses, we have ranked choice voting. Libertarians have no chance for anything larger than maybe an occasional seat in a state assembly. But Paul, I think you're right. But all we need is 1 or 2 in a state assembly. You're right. But that's our first step. The goal, and I bring this up all the time, the goal of having a charismatic top of the ticket is, for the party, isn't actually to win. Obviously, you have to run to win. I can't stress that enough. If you're top of the ticket, you have to run to win and hope that lightning strikes 3 times and you win, but realizing the odds are you're not going to. But if you run to win, if that's how you run your campaign, you'll still get something good. I ran to win New York State. Clearly I didn't, but I got 6 times the vote total that the last guy got. 6 times. While Trump was president and Cuomo was fighting Trump during his election, even though Trump wasn't even running. So I did well because I was running to win. So the top ticket has to run to win, so the top ticket can get the press required to help the bottom of the ticket, which wins because of relationships and because they're connected. The bottom ticket begins to win. Again, if we get just 2-3 people, Paul, who are, state assembly, in some states, that'll be the control. That will actually be the group that will decide, okay, you know what? We're the swing vote. We decide what gets done and what doesn't get done. Let's make that happen. I think you're right, and let's make that happen. Let's get several states that have 2, 3, 4 libertarian state assembly. Now we'll start to rock, or state senate. If they have a senate, state assembly, whatever. Yes, I agree with you, and that should be our goal. Let's do that, because now they can start to make change. But even to local level, in New York City, we now have, in the primary, we have ranked choice voting. It's going to keep going. I think they still have it in Maine, don't they? Maine, I think, one other state, right? So it's happening, Paul. I think you're correct. And let's keep going. That's not a reason to stop. That's a reason to focus on that. Joe Jorgensen didn't get more due in part. Joe didn't get more due in part to a lack of national media coverage. Yes? How do you increase that much needed exposure? Be exciting so that others will follow you, and eventually it will happen, right? Go local, as I talked about, right? In my campaign, what I learned, again, too late, I spent time in areas in New York State where most people don't go. And doing that, I got press locally. So much local press eventually bled up. And that's how I got statewide press. I got some statewide press. That's how I got on Kennedy twice. That's how I got on Joe Rogan. That's how I got on Dave Rubin. That's how I got all those places, because I started local, and that began to grow, right? And when internal polling that was not released, that the Democrats, Republicans did, that they paid for on their own, I was polling anywhere from 6 to 11%. That's what I was polling in New York State. And anyone who knows, if you know any Republicans who were running, they did an internal polling. That's what I was polling, depending upon the time, between 6 and 11%, which is why I still believed that I could get 5%. You can see my logic and why I believe that. But when I was running at the end, I still thought I was going to get 5% in the last days, because that's where I was polling in that area. So because of that, that's what gets you the exposure, right? But again, Justin, you've got to realize that's how it's going to work. If you don't fight guerrilla tactics, you lose. It's going to be unfair, and we have to work that way. We have to work that way. So I hope at least answer your question. I know it wasn't a great answer, but I hope at least it answered it at least, even if it wasn't a great answer. So, all right. Let me grab a couple more if I could. Let's see here. First, the left hates the cops. Then a virtual signal how great their free speech choice. Yes, the problem is they like their cops. Clearly, they like their cops. That's the cops they like. They don't like all cops. They like their cops. There we go. Yes. So, how can we educate people about libertarianism without coming across like just some anti-government nut? What are some of your go-to rebuttals to common objections to libertarianism? I say it all the time. I don't talk about liberty or libertarianism. When do I talk about that stuff? I don't do that. I just give solutions. Why don't we try this? How about that? Here's an idea. How about this? What if we try this? Has that worked? That's failed? How about this thing? When I know I'm winning, it's when people think I'm their party. When I'm talking to someone, they go, that guy's whatever I am. They're Democrat. I go, you must be a Democrat. They're Republican. I go, you must be a Republican. That's when I'm winning. That's when I'm winning. I don't talk about liberty or libertarianism. This show's not called The Liberty Way. I didn't do that. Everyone does that. I don't do that. Once you do that, they've already decided they don't like you already or they love you already. They love you already. Why am I talking to you? If they don't love you, then now I'm fighting. I don't do any of that. Just show people you care. How about that? I know it sounds crazy, but there's a saying that I use all the time. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So show them you care first. Then I don't even discuss these things. Any campaign has to recognize that most voters are low information voters and hit every other voter with multiple points of contact. Yes. Ken knows. Is that picture you with the winner there? That's a picture of you and a winner. Yeah, she's with the winner. Yes, absolutely. So yes, yeah, agreed, right? And look, the average person doesn't spend that much time on politics. They spend most of their life doing other things. And then they get a bit of politics from their friends or family or Facebook or whatever is their medium of choice. That's what usually happens. Yes, that's usually it. So, hate cops. Yeah, vote for president ticket. People by former top cop. Yes. It does. It's my cop, Jonathan, and my cop's great. That's how that works. Absolutely. My cop's great. Yes. The media plays the right like they're stupid and backwards and then gaslight us about the radical left. The media plays the right like they're stupid and backwards and then gaslights us about the radical left. Are you saying they purposefully divide us? Is that where you're going with that? Because I think that's 100% true, right? If you look at America now, right, and the PC culture that we have, the people that it's okay to make fun of is the rural white guy. You can call him any name you want, insult him, tease him, totally fine. The rural white guy, you can attack all you want. Everyone else is off limits, right? So I think that's true. So I don't know. I mean, I would insult everybody or nobody. Let's be fair. So what office can I vote for you next? I'm unsure, right? I'll decide on governor next summer. I'll decide on that next summer. Yes. So we will never fix the election until we fix the media. See, this is another issue I have, right? You've made another valid point here. My worry about this though is how do you fix the media, right? What does that mean? You see right now as people getting upset with Facebook, they're going off to Parler, they're going off to Jesus, not just Parler, what's the other one? And now I've forgotten. I'm sorry. MeWe, they're going after those. I know I'm doing it too. I'm getting multiple sites because I'm worried about getting shut down. This is becoming the media, right? The media loves election time because everyone watches the media. It's election time. We got to watch CNN and Fox all day long, right? They watch it for that, of course. But otherwise, we watch a lot more of this than we watch the mainstream media. I don't know how we fix it. I think one of the most important things is I'm not happy about people leaving Facebook and going to Parler or MeWe. I'm not happy about that. And the reason is it's going to fracture us even more. We're going to have the right on Parler and the left on Facebook. Yeah, that's not helpful. So now we've turned social media into CNN and Fox. That's not helpful. We have to keep talking. I can't turn you if I can't talk to you. You can't convince me if you can't talk to me. To be forward, I've been changed by many of you. Some of you have watched me talk, literally talked out a problem live on a show. I'm like, oh yeah, he's right. You guys teach me stuff too. So how are we supposed to make that happen? I come up with plans, and then 3 months later, someone goes, Larry, that can't work. We talk about it, and I changed my plan. But if you're on platform A and I'm on platform B, I just keep thinking I'm right. You just keep thinking you're right. Maybe we're both wrong. So I don't know how you do that. I think we have to fix the individual. We have to fix the culture. There we go. That's the answer isn't fixing the media. The answer is fixing the culture, right? We have to stop hating each other because we disagree. That's the most important piece. I say it all the time. People get most angry at me, not because of my ideas, because I won't hate the person they want to hate. So yeah. So, all right. Let's see here. Jonathan, oh, that's for him. Sorry. Breaking AG Barr authorized federal prosecutors to pursue substantial allegations of voting irregularities. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, it's going to work. I feel like once this goes back to the piece before that, I know he's probably unhappy about. I think the media does control this. I think if the media says there's nothing to see here, I think we're going to start thinking there's nothing to see here. That's what I think. Yes. To your point. Oh, she says it. Yeah, thank you. Yes, absolutely. The media selects the candidates and the winners. Kind of, yeah. Yeah. Kind of, yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Let's see. Do you support laissez-faire capitalism? And if so, do you think monopolies can happen with this? That's a tough question, Sarah, because laissez-faire in theory is wonderful, and it's like communism is wonderful in theory, but culture matters, right? Culture matters. What we believe to be true matters. Other things. If laissez-faire capitalism, along with all the things that we have right now in America, isn't going to work very well. And yes, monopolies can happen, and I'm 100% against monopolies, to include government monopolies. Remember, most monopolies, not all, most monopolies are created by government. Again, not all, most are. They're somehow sponsored by or assisted by or regulated by government to ensure they're monopolies and or cartel systems. Most of the time, the governments create those or support them. So we have to find an answer between the two. The country right now is nowhere near laissez-faire capitalism. It's much more corporatism. So would I like to move towards it? Yes. I like to move towards it over time because the country isn't ready for it. It's not who we are as a nation. It's not how we think as a nation. And too many people are still in the mindset to where if we went that route, there will be tons of monopolies and lots of exploitation. There is now, right? And I don't think it will get any better. There's a cultural change that has to happen. So I think you begin by the only way you can support laissez-faire capitalism is by having a much stronger entrepreneur class, a much stronger support of the small business owner, if anything, giving them more advantages than the larger companies, then you could naturally break monopolies without government having to step in. And laissez-faire capitalism will work better because if you are exploited as a worker, if you have a strong entrepreneurial class and entrepreneurial system, the workers shift to being entrepreneurs. How do we know this? You see it right now, particularly in Black women. But it's happened many times. But right now, there's been a huge explosion of Black women entrepreneurs. Why? Because they weren't being treated well in the private sector. So they said, we're out. And they become entrepreneurs, tons of them. And what the government has done, particularly in cities, they've created special programs to allow women-owned and Black-owned businesses to get business and get support. I know I've taught them. I was an instructor from New York City for many of these. So if you have something like that type of system, then yes, but you have to build that system out. I don't think we're there right now. I hope that answers your question, sir. But theory, yes. Move towards it, 100%. But you've got to move towards it with a very strong small business environment, a very strong entrepreneurial spirit and environment, particularly with immigrant classes and poor communities, particularly in those two. If you have that, let's do it. I hope that answers your question. So, yes, impact's all I care about. Impact. Absolutely. Yes. So, All right. Howie Hawkins chose Angela Walker before Biden chose Harris. That's true. That's right. Howie Hawkins had a black VP woman candidate before Biden did. That's true. Absolutely. Yes. We're just never going to break out of that middling 1 to 5% level until we radicalize our message and turn some heads. Radical populism is dominating American culture. That's actually, I'm worried about that. No, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all. I think we have to have a radical element to our message. Absolutely, that is required. But you also have to have policies. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. I think the Trump presidency is the example of that. If you don't have policies behind them, it's not sustainable. And if you're too radical, people become afraid. Think about this. In 2006-ish or so, America was begging for something different. They believed, falsely, that Obama was something different, right? Clearly, that was not true. But that's what they believed, right? Because he looked different. He's in a different city now. Oh, my God. I mean, in the Democratic primary, he beat Hillary. Hillary should have, in the Democratic primary, in theory, Clinton, experience. She should have. It was a job interview. She should have easily beat Obama in the primary. No, Obama wins. Why? America's looking for something different and new, and they thought it was Obama. And when they put that person ahead, the Republicans said, let's put someone as establishment as possible against them, and they lost. 2012, same thing. America's looking for something different, something new, and Republicans put establishment against them again, the most established they could. Obama wins again. America's still looking for something new. What did Democrats put up? Hillary Clinton, the most establishment possible. Republicans put up a rebel, Trump. They win. But that huge pendulum swing went too far, and America couldn't take it. Now they're like, we want regular. Let's go back to just what's boring. Biden's boring, isn't he? Let's do that. He's just not going to fall asleep, right? He's just going to go into the basement and go to sleep. We'll take him. Yeah, we're okay with that. And I think the pendulum went the other way. Radicalism is not a bad idea in theory, but it's not sustainable. I want something sustainable, which means you have a radical element. Absolutely. But the actual message has to turn heads. It's the policy. And it sounds stupid, but my idea is what people remember. People remember the bridge idea I had. They remember the regulating cannabis like onions idea. They remember the K through 10 idea. They remember those things. That's what turned heads in my campaign, not me yelling taxation theft. What libertarians always talk to me about is that you gotta shake people up. You say turn some heads, scare some people. No, scared Americans is what's given us every bad policy that libertarians hate. War on terror, scared Americans. War on drugs, scared Americans. War on poverty, scared Americans. Patriot Act, scared Americans. Everything that we hate, regulation about regulation, scared Americans. EPA, scared Americans. Every single policy that we hate, that we fight against, every one of them came from scared Americans. The last thing I want to do is scare Americans. It makes my life worse. It makes your life worse. Please, let's not scare Americans. People who are afraid make bad decisions. And that's every country and every person. Let's not do that. That's a terrible idea. Let's not make them scared. Turn heads? Yes. Radical element? 100%. But good ideas. Gotta have that. I had a radical element to me, but I wasn't radical. I had a radical element. My ideas were much more like, oh, we could do that. Ideas what will happen. That will change. That's how we work it. I'm very strong in my opposition to police practices, so I don't get voting for the very thing I denounce. Yes. By the way, I don't hate law enforcement. Neither do I. My father was in law enforcement. I'm not anti-law enforcement. I'm anti-system. That's what I'm about. I'm anti-system. Cops are just people. Law enforcement. When I count law enforcement, I don't only count cops. I count cops, and I also count corrections officers, and I also count parole officers, and I also count state troopers. I count all of them in law enforcement, right? They're just people trying to do a job in a pretty crappy system. So I have an idea. Change system. That's what I think. So, all right. They marginalized Ron Paul. They did. 100%. Yes. Absolutely. Let's see. National doesn't listen to anyone. Well, so I guess I should feel better. I guess, maybe, yes. Tommy, hey, Tommy. We learned that we as a party have a lot more work to do for the future. That's true. Yes. We need to talk and lay foundation for the future. I agree, 100%. Yes, absolutely. So, I really thought You Know Judge made a good ticket. So did I. But what are you gonna do? You move on. I thought we were the right ticket. I really did. America was looking clearly. I say this with respect. Was looking for someone who was just kind of not Trumpish. What we did some extra polling, right? But no one wanted to hear this either. And some of the polling was what people really wanted, what most Americans actually wanted was a nicer Trump. I'm not joking. Was a more mainstream, nicer Trump. That's actually what most Americans wanted. Not all. Some Americans wanted hardcore Trump. Some Americans wanted hardcore Bernie. Some wanted both. Some still do. But the most Americans just wanted a nicer Trump. That's what they really wanted. Well, we could have given them that. Nicer. That's what I mean. Nicer. We could have. Emotions matter, guys. Emotions matter. Yes. That's all I keep saying. Emotions matter. I think Alaska is the most winnable state of libertarians. It votes strongly for third parties and is not super red or blue for libertarian culture states. I'm not sure about that one, right? My worry is twofold in Alaska. It's pretty red. It's pretty red. And the third party it votes for is the Alaska Independence Party. So, they want to become their own country. So I'm not sure about that. Plus, it's physically huge and hard to get around. So you have to worry about logistics also, right? How do I get any star power we might have? How do I get them to Alaska and around Alaska? How do we get around Alaska? So I'm not sure that would work for logistical purposes. I'd rather be in a state where you could drive around it, where you could easily get somebody there, right? If all of a sudden Kurt Russell decided he wanted to support us, he's libertarian, by the way, then easily we can get him there, right? Tough to get him to Alaska. Not impossible, but tough. So I get what you're saying, but I just think what Alaska is so hard. I mean, it's a huge state and hard to get around and tough to campaign in the winter. So all those things, it makes it difficult. So let's see. I find the concept of voting to be gross, honestly. I mean, I understand why we do it and now with the system we have, but I don't like to have voting in general to control others. This is it's a great point, right? I get it. The issue is, I don't think, at least now, we have a better system, particularly as we keep moving towards more and more centralization. Once we start moving towards decentralization, it won't matter as much, and the voting will be different. So I get what you're saying. I'm with you too. I think this is the necessary evil if there is one, right? This is the one if there is one. Yeah. There's a huge difference between hating cops and hating policy they have to follow. I'm sick of people blaming cops for not warrants. Cops cannot issue warrants. Yeah. Thank you, Shelley. Yes. The cops doing his job. Yeah. Right? I mean, I say this because, again, I was a Marine, and it's a similar thing. Do I want Marines killing people in Iraq and Afghanistan? Of course not. Do I blame them? Of course not. They're sent to Iraq and Afghanistan. People are trying to kill them. They shoot back. Yeah, I get it. So change system. Don't send them there. Don't give the cop no-knock warrants. I'm with you. Yes, 100%. Yes. I didn't hate Joe and Spike, but you and the judge felt more natural. Thank you. But yeah, Joe and Spike, they weren't natural. They weren't a team, right? They didn't run together. Spike ran with Vermin. Joe ran with nobody. So they didn't have a connection. So they weren't natural. They were forced together by the delegates to create a unity ticket, which wasn't a unity ticket, but it's fine. It's what they thought. It's a unity ticket. It'll make the party happy. Like that matters. I don't know why that matters at all, but I guess it matters. But no, I mean, yeah, it's true. What you're saying is true. Yeah. But again, it might not have meant, it doesn't mean they couldn't have been natural, but we knew they weren't because they didn't run together, right? Spike and Vermin ran together. They were clearly a team. Me and the judge ran together. We were clearly a team. So, yeah. We need to get our party ready now for 2024 as president. Let's do it. I'm with you. Absolutely. Yes. Can we stop Republicans from using the "Don't Tread on Me" flag? It's pissing me off. I see it constantly. I agree. Yes. What are you going to do? The flag, everyone can use the flag if they want to. Yes. Yes, absolutely. So, PA got minority party status. I'm assuming Joe has something to do with that. Doesn't feel like baby steps and more like falling in a forward direction. That's my point, right? You know, I want us to move forward, right? More than anything. And I wanted us to do better than Gary did in 2016. That's what I wanted. Better than him. That's what I wanted. That would have been us moving forward, right? And I know people go, well, COVID, whatever. 150 million people came out to vote. It's not an excuse. It isn't. It's not. No excuses. It's not an excuse. We should have done better. We could have done better. I'm not saying the world's ending. I'm saying let's accept it as true and get better. Accept it as true and get better. And don't pat ourselves like, oh, we're great because we didn't get 0%. That's not a good thing, right? Let's fix it. So, Lara, you involved in the end of the LP caucuses? Not really. I'm on the advisory board of the Mises Caucus, but not really involved. No, here or there when they have questions, they will bring some stuff to me and I'll answer to the best of my ability and give them some ideas and such. But that's it. Most of the caucuses don't like me because I won't hate the other caucuses. One of the major reasons why we got the ticket that we got was because internally, some of you know this, you were there, some of you don't know this, but there was a lot of internal fighting in the Libertarian Party. Everything that we say the Democrats, Republicans do and is bad, we did internally. And we fought left versus right within our own party. And I tried to tell them, you're setting yourself up so that neither one of you can get more than 50%. I played this game in 2016. I know how this works. You have to build coalitions. That's how, for those who don't know, that's how our party works internally, right? You have to build coalitions so that together, everyone gets together and then you win an election because of different caucuses and parties. But they were so hard fighting each other that neither one of them was going to get, neither one of their top candidates was going to get more than 40%. Was going to happen. So we got everybody's second choice. That's what happened. The two top choices couldn't move past. They wouldn't vote for each other, right? Except for Spike. Spike crossed over and got endorsed by the Mises Caucus. So he crossed over. So he made a coalition. So he won the election, which is kind of what I said. But again, to my point, they weren't listening to me. So they thought, we're just going to yell and push our way through. No, you're not. It's not how that's not how we work, right? You have to make a coalition or you don't win. I almost won in 2016 because I got every other coalition except for the one big one, which was the Gary Johnson coalition. And that's why I lost by 31 votes. So I almost became the VP nod in 2016 because I built the coalitions. I told them this. Only Spike built coalition. So Spike won because he built the coalition. But the caucuses generally don't like me because I won't hate the other. They tend to hate each other. I won't hate each other, so they tend not to like me. It's a general rule. So I don't mind. I don't mind. Let's see if I can keep going. Sarcasm. Thank you. Yes, I love that. Rainwater in Indiana, governor where I live, is who I was hoping would be a big win for us with Holcomb's current governor for more lockdowns. Yeah, but I think he did well. I'm not unhappy with Rainwater. He made impact. He flew the flag effectively. He talked about answers. 2 debates. Am I right? 2 debates. That's a win. That's impact. That's the stuff I want us to see happening all the time. So what did I want him to be governor of Indiana? So much. So much I wanted him to be governor of Indiana. Of course I did. Absolutely. Just saying, still good. That's a good showing. He built the team. He learned from his mistakes. He's ready to go better. Indiana knows who Libertarians are. There's a bunch of checkmark wins on that one. That's a good deal. Of course, I wish he was governor. I'll take what he got, though. Really good deal. Yes. So, all right. Win. We won in Africa. Yes, we did. Kalish. As I said, I knew you had the winner there. Ken, yes, the winner's right there. Kalish is right there. That's her. Amazing. We had victories. These are the champions that I love, right? We had victory, right? Kalish is a perfect example of that. She's our stars, right? Absolutely. Francisco Ramirez. Yes. Love it. These are our stars. We had a lot of good victories like that. I want more of those. This is how we grow. right? To your point earlier, Paul, you're saying how, we're only going to win locally and such. Yeah, let's get 10 more Kalishes. Let's do that. I'm in. Let's get 10 more of them. Yes. And before you know it, all of a sudden now we've got the policies we're talking about. We've got momentum we need. 100% yes. Yes. All right. Let's see here. I keep telling my damn friends and family, it doesn't matter who won, we all lose. It's kind of funny. I like that. Yes. All right. Do you think that China will buy up all the foreclosures that are surely coming in the coming months and years? Not China necessarily. Part of it, yes. What we find, it happens in every time we have a crash, but every 10 years or so, we have a crash. When that happens, all of a sudden you find that those who are liquid begin to purchase things up. Many times they purchase things up not through individuals, so you don't know who they are. They purchase up through private equity companies. So companies will put money together and then buy assets, usually in groups. Chinese investors will be part of those. I don't think it'll be China, the government. I don't think it'll be that. I don't think it'll be Chinese entities. I think it'll be some Chinese billionaires who will be tied to the government, because you can't be a billionaire in China if you're not. So you'll be tied to the government, but it'll be Chinese billionaires who will invest in American equity companies. Those companies will purchase. So it won't only be China, but it will be partially. That's my view. I think generally speaking, equity companies pick those up. It'll be wealthy Chinese, wealthy Russians, wealthy Americans, wealthy people of all ilk, to include China. And probably because China has so much money, probably a large chunk will be Chinese billionaires connected to the government, but not specifically China. I hope that answers your question. So let's say here. Yeah, they said it will be mandatory if enough people don't get it. Yeah, so do it. If you don't, we'll force you. All right, gotcha. Okay, I like that idea. So I guess, yes. Larry, what do you think about Bill Weld leaving the LP for the GOP and voting Biden in deep blue mass this election? I don't really know, right? I think Bill Weld does. I think what Bill Weld actually wants, my view, is I think Bill Weld wants the old school GOP back. And he thought it was going away with Trump. So I'm going to go Libertarian to see if I can bring it back myself. And if I can't bring it back myself, fine, I'll vote Biden just to bring it back. Because I think that's what he actually wants, and he'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. I think he wants old school GOP. That's what he wants. He wants, Reagan GOP, the first Bush GOP. He wants that. And the GOP's not that anymore. And he wants to go back to those days, and he'll do whatever it takes to go back to those days. And if that means Libertarian, if that means vote Biden, whatever it takes. I think he sees Trump as the big reason why he can't have his old GOP back. That's my view. I don't know that for sure. That's what I believe is true. And I think he'll do whatever it takes to get rid of Trump so he can fall back to his old GOP. I think that's what he wants. He wants a Romney GOP. He wants he wants a Kasich GOP. That's what I think he wants. And I think if whatever it takes to get that, he's in. That's what I think. So, all right. See if I keep going. I did cover that already, right? What happens when we default in the debt, economic reset, electricity 1 to 3 months in the cities, longer rural areas, no loan for 6 months, maybe longer. That's why I prep. I hope that's not true, Brian. I don't think that's true. I think it'll be a very simple transition. I think they're already planning it. I think the plan's already happening. I know it's going to happen, right? I'm some guy. They have to be planning it already. I think that it will not be that difficult at all, unless they believe that if Americans are afraid of it, they'll do that to make them more afraid of this than that, if that makes any sense. But if Americans are okay with it, it's fine. They'll put it on credit cards. They just turn your credit cards from dollars to Fed coin. That's all. You won't even know. It will no longer, it'll just go, I sweep in $3, sweep in 3 Fed coin. That's all. It'll be that simple. I don't think it'll have to happen. I think Americans will just take it. If Americans don't take it, I think you're right. But I think they'll take it. Yes. What are your thoughts on Vermin Supreme? I was worried that Vermin Supreme might alienate older voters. That was my worry about Vermin Supreme. To be forward, Vermin Supreme had he was one of the only ones who actually had policy, to be forward with you. Only 3 candidates, I think, actually had policies, real policies. Him, Adam Kokesh, Judge Jim Gray. Those three candidates had actual, not rhetoric, they had actual policies. Those three did. So Vermin had policy, so did Adam Kokesh, and so did Judge Jim Gray. So I think he had policy. My worry was, I thought he might have been able to get us 5%. I believe, and I said that. I was very forward. I said this. My worry was, while he would have motivated the youth to vote, statistically, they don't. So he might have got them excited for this election and might have got us to 5%. That's possible. Would he have kept them after the election? Obama's election would say no. I feel like Vermin wouldn't have been better than Obama. That's my gut. And he probably would have lost them after. That'd been my worry. And then my worry was, then, would he have alienated the over 50s who still think your candidate has to wear a tie and have a short haircut? Would he have alienated those? So I think it's possible Vermin could have gotten us 5%. Possible. My worry was, it was now and was then. I've been very open about this. My worry was, would he have been able to keep it after that? I don't know. I think Obama and even Trump, a lot of the youth didn't come back to Trump. A lot of the youth did not come back to Obama. Would the youth have come back to him after? I don't know that answer. That was a worry. And then would he have alienated the people who are over 50 and 60 who do vote constantly? That was my worry. But he had policy, at least. So that's something. So I hope I answered your question. Yes. Why didn't Joe Rogan have Jorgensen on the show despite voting for her? I'm going to be very forward with you. Joe wants good guests. She's not exciting. She's not exciting. He wants exciting, interesting guests. She's not exciting. I'm not being mean. Anyone who knows her, even if you like Joe, she's not exciting, right? She doesn't come on and boom, 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 boom. I came on, I was doing stuff, right? It was there. So you want to have an exciting, interesting guest. He's a showman first. He's not a journalist. That makes any sense, right? Rogan's not a journalist. He's a showman. So if you're going to give him a good show, he's going to have you on. It's not exciting. I think it's that simple. Just not exciting. So please run for governor of New York again. I'm considering it. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, I'm actually considering it. Sharpe for New York City. No mayor. No. Right now, I am considering getting behind a woman by the name of Stacey Pressman, who's considering running for mayor. I hope she does actually do it. I'm talking to her now, seeing if she'll do it. That'd be an amazing thing. We have an amazing candidate, New York City candidate, to run for mayor as Libertarian. I hope this works out well. I'm trying for it right now. So that's who I'm looking for to support. I don't have to run to make impact. Neither do you. So I can help. I can support somebody else and help them run because they want to make impact. They can make impact. That is what I'm talking about. Absolutely, we can do that. 100%. Look, I know some of you are stressed and you want me or someone else to run who can do well. I get it. If you're really stressed out, if you're having anxiety and you're worried, listen to this. Hey, it's Larry Sharpe, host of the Sharpe Way show. Want to talk to you for a couple of seconds only about CBD products. Look, if you think that they should be part of your health regimen, or they already are, you're dealing with maybe pain or anxiety or some other issue, head on over to grownselection.com. Check them out. They're a libertarian-owned company. They understand that you own your body and should treat yourself the way you think you should be treated. Of course they do. You do too, and so do I. So head over there, check them out, look at their CBD products. If you think they fit your health regimen, put in Sharpe Way 20 and get 20% off your order. Look, I want you to support the Liberty Movement, libertarian-owned businesses, and the show. They're a sponsor. If CBD is or should be part of your health regimen, grownselection.com. Check them out. Purchase Sharpe Way 20 for 20% off. Support the show. Support the movement. grownselection.com. That guy's smart. You should listen to him. Absolutely. There you guys. We don't my sponsor. It matters. If you care about my show, if you can't support me directly, support my sponsors. If you can't support me directly, support my sponsors. It does matter. So, Larry, any chance you could be running for mayor next year? I did cover that. We have somebody trying to very much, yes, trying to make things work. Joe, my plan is quick, which is QICC, qualified immunity, insurance, liability insurance for officers, and taking cannabis off of Schedule 1, and, of course, ending civil asset forfeiture. Do those four things that will change how police have to act. It'll change everything. That's what I want. Police unions will probably cover the bad cops in lawsuits, not if they carry their own insurance. And that's why the I in the QUIC program, QICC, I know pretty crappy for QUIC, but it's all I can think of. So I is they carry their own insurance. So the insurance companies have to deal with it. They will deal with the cop in lawsuits. So now what happens, please don't know this. When there's a bad cop does something bad. Right now, currently, police union gets involved, city gets involved, city has to pay if the cop does something bad. The city's supposed to like kind of cover things up, doesn't want to pay for it. They just let the cop retire, leave, resign. The cop resigns. So the bad cop resigns, right? They cover things up, the bad cop resigns. The bad cop goes to the county next door, gets a job as a cop. Why? He has experience. He didn't get fired. He resigned. So he moves and gets another job in another county. Well, that cop does something bad. He's a bad cop. Now what do we see? Two bad cops, counties next door, cops are terrible. Of course, it's the same cop. I'm not making this up. Look at the bad cops. They have a record a mile long. The bad cops do so many bad things, we can't imagine that it's only one cop. It's got to be like 10 cops. No, it's one cop 10 times. Well, if they all of a sudden have to carry their own insurance, if you think I'm making this up, do your own homework. This is factual, right? The guy who killed George Floyd had basically a rap sheet. This is a common thing. Well, if they carry their own insurance, several things happen. Number one, and this isn't crazy covering insurance. I have my own insurance as a consultant. If you're a lawyer, you have your own insurance. If you're a doctor, you have your own insurance. Lots of professionals carry their own liability insurance. It's not crazy. I do it. Lots of people do it, right? So if all of a sudden some cop does something bad, if they make a mistake, they pay a little bit more in premium for a couple years, like if you get a speeding ticket or something, if it's a small mistake, they go back to what that works. The good cops are protected. Life is good. If they're a bad cop, they do two things wrong. Their premiums go up so high they can't afford to pay the premiums. So either learn their lesson and stop, or do it again, then they can't be insured. In which case they lose their job because they can't be insured. Unions aren't part of it. Well, will unions like it? Yes, because in part of the plan, you make the unions insurance brokers. So now the unions get cash because they're brokerage services now. They get cash off the insurance. It's in their best interest to support the good cops who keep paying insurance premiums. It happened that the bad cops go away, bad cop. I don't care. Bye. Not just that, the government's no longer paying for a cop who screws up. So what's their incentive? To get to the truth. That's it. So they don't cover up a good cop or a bad cop. They support the good cop because they want to keep them. And they punish the bad cop because he's a bad cop. That's why the I is a part of the qualified immunity. It can't just be qualified immunity. It also has to be liability insurance. So if we have that, Paul, then we don't have what you're talking about. Right now, if we only have qualified immunity, you're correct. This is why I'm saying, while qualified immunity is awesome, I'm glad we're going to end it. That's great. It's not enough. You have to change the system so you can support the good cops and get rid of the bad cops. That's what you have to do, right? Change the system. That's the whole key. Excuse me. All right. I would love for a judge to rule that describing a government program as free is false advertising and require all politicians to refer to taxpayer supported. All right. Yes. I'm going to show you something because I brought this up before. This is a video that I did. See if I can find. I did this video almost 3 years ago now. I was in Rochester when I did this video. And I'll show you this real fast. I brought this up. I was talking about Rochester. I'm going to have to put my headphones to make sure I can hear it. So I was talking about Rochester in this video. You'll see what I'm talking about. And I cover exactly this, Samuel. Exactly this idea. I'm here in Rochester. Used to be called Flower City. Because over here used to be a big flour mill. Made lots of flour. That's great. What is it now? It's nothing. People say, well, wait a minute, to do something about that. This should be something. So the idea was, we'll put taxpayer money into it. And guess what we have right now? Hear what I said? Taxpayer money. It's a waterfall. It's a beautiful waterfall, but that's all it is. I didn't say government money. If I said this 3 or 4 times during this video, to exactly your point, I don't say give it government money, free money. I said taxpayer money. That video is from winter 2017, 2018. I think that's what you see, snow on the ground. Yes, I was crazy. I was campaigning that early for governor. I didn't even, when I made that video, I was campaigning. I didn't even have the nomination yet. I didn't get the nomination until April. This was like, I don't know, July. I'm sorry, June, maybe January 2018. So I was campaigning upstate New York then. But to your point, Samuel, I didn't say government money. I said taxpayer money. And I brought up taxpayer money like 4 times in that video. It's a 3-minute video. But that's what I talked about. You are totally correct. That's so important. Absolutely. So anyway, Libertarians just won a partisan race to state assembly in Wyoming. Yes, absolutely. We had some stars. Absolutely. We've had some stars. Absolutely. The war on drugs has cost too much in lives and money. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. All right. They need to coordinate and network and share appearances at all levels of the ticket. This is a problem that we've had. We had it actually, believe it or not, we had it in the Johnson campaign too, right? They often wanted me to MC stuff during the Johnson campaign. And every time it happened, I made sure others were talking. We had some of that in this campaign too. People a little upset. Well, do we want other people speaking? I was like, yeah, I helped coordinate some of that too, right? There was some problems with that, Dan. You're right. We should be better at that. And we struggled, right? But if you've noticed, what I've tried to do is when I support candidates, I try to get everyone talking, everyone speaking, showing that there's a lot of us so that we can all support each other. Absolutely. Yes. So, all right. So if I grab a couple more. Another for State House, barely lost the. Oh, yes, she did. Bethany, right? Yes. She came very close. Again, we've got some stars, guys. We definitely have some stars. There's no doubt we have some stars. I don't want you to think that there isn't. Yes. Why is there not a mainstream media outlet? Chuck, you're watching one. I'm kidding. Yes, because you guys don't like, comment, and share enough. I'm teasing. But we have to grow more, right? Our libertarian world is a smaller world, and we have to support you the more. And you see, if you guys notice, some of you are paying attention, I go on a lot of podcasts, a lot of libertarian podcasts. Absolutely. I go out of my way to go on small podcasts and begin to grow that so that we can actually begin to grow our own media. The odds of us having an actual media outlet right now is pretty slim, but I think we're getting better and better at it. The more that we do this, the better we'll get. Yes. Libertarians would benefit from embracing more of a younger audience and subcultures, video gaming, music, comics. I think we do. Yes. I try to, right? I go on Discord, which as an old man like me is a big deal. I'll go on anything. I went on an MMA podcast. Absolutely. I will go on any podcast. Doesn't matter. People ask me. I go on all the time. I usually go on 2 a week or more that aren't mine. So if you guys don't know, I produce a lot of live content every single week, at least 6 or 7 hours every week of live content constantly, because I'm trying to do exactly what you're talking about. We need more media. We need more content. We have to make it happen. We have to keep going. Otherwise, we're simply not going. We're just not going to make this work if we don't do that. We have to find the right answer. Absolutely. So let's see if I can keep doing this down here. Can gubernatorial candidates take donation models? Yes. Gubernatorial candidates cannot take donations from foreign companies or foreign citizens. However, you can take some donations from anyone in America, American citizen. Yes, absolutely can. So yeah, you absolutely can. Yes. I like Vermin, but my concern is the same as Larry's. Meme status does help, though. Yes, right. Absolutely. Yes. I think it's true, Paul, that there was value to Vermin, but it was a gamble, right? Is it going to work? And to be forward, I don't know if my concerns were valid. Sorry, they were valid concerns. I don't know if they would have come to fruition or not. I was worried that they would come. That's why I wasn't supporting Vermin. But if you notice, if anybody watched, what I was saying during the campaign, I never attacked Vermin once. I never did. I never attacked him because if he had won, he might have got us the 5%. I don't know that. He might have done it, right? And we might have paid the price in the future. It's possible, but I've never attacked him. I just said what I told you. I said my real concern, that was my concern, was that in the future he would alienate the 50s and 60-somethings who still think you have to have a tie and short hair. That was my concern. So there we go. See if I can keep going here. What are your thoughts on how well Vermin's boot hat fits? It's actually a boot, for those who don't know, right? It actually is a boot. It's not like a thing. It's actually a boot. I hope you are correct that economic reset will be painless. I would rather be prepared in case it. Yes, Brian, please be prepared because I might have to go someplace. Maybe I'm coming to your house. So I may have to go someplace, but I think it will be relatively painless. It's my gut. I think it will be. I think they will simply use cards. They'll just change the cards over. The banking system will change from the Fed level, so we won't feel it much at all. That's my gut on that. I hope I'm right, but I do think it will happen. Pure digital currency will be coupled with a social credit score. Yes, I think you're right. Yes, which is horrible. And yeah, the problem with that will be now if you don't do what we say, you may lose your ability to have access to your Fed coin. That's the worst part, right? While I'm happy, to Brian's point, that it will probably be painless, I'm not happy with what the outcome would be. You are correct. The outcome is going to be now we control your money, period. We control your money. So don't do what we say. Oh, you don't have access to Fed coin anymore. Yeah, that you're totally correct. That's it, right? Privileges, do what I say, caveats on this. Yeah. And what about UBI or universal health care? Yes, all those will be connected. Well, so the idea that it won't be that painful, that's nice. But the other things, yeah, not so nice. Not so nice. It's not going to be a great thing that the dollar's going to collapse. That's not going to be a great thing. Well, I'm sorry, not for regular people. For the elites, absolutely the great thing. Yes, absolutely. It's a great thing for the elites. They're going to love it, 100%. So yeah. Any opinion on Justin Amash's future in the LP 22 and 2024? I hope he stays. I don't, he hasn't told me anything. He hasn't told me whether he's staying or not. I'm assuming he's staying. I don't think he would lie. I trust him that he's staying. I don't know if he's going to run again. I don't know. He loses office, I think, January this year. He loses his seat because he didn't run. So I think he loses his seat, I think, January this year. So next year, I'm sorry, next year. And so, yeah, I hope he stays. If he runs for something, I will support him. He's, I think, our most popular libertarian we have in the country. I assume that to be true. Can't think of another one more popular than him. And he raises money. People know who he is. Been on mainstream media. If he's running for something, I'm on the Amash train. I hope he runs for something. There was rumor he would run for governor of Michigan. There was rumor he would run for Congress again. Rumor he'll run in 2024. I hope one of those are true. As soon as I know something that I can say publicly, I will say it publicly because I will be happy if he's running for something. I really hope he is. I'm glad he's in, and I hope he stays in. Let's get more. Let's get more. Larry, do you have me on Discord? I do, but I don't use it yet. I just got on MeWe. I just got on Parler. I've been on Discord for a while, but I haven't done anything. I actually have a TikTok. I know, but I haven't done it yet. I don't have time. I gotta find time. That's a BS excuse I just gave you. I have to find time. I have to find time to do it. So I will find time to do it. I will make sure it happens. Yes, I will make sure it happens. I just gotta find time, and I absolutely will. So, thoughts on Austin Peterson? I'm disappointed he didn't come back. I was one of the guys who said it, and I've said it publicly. I wish the guy never left. I wish he had stayed, right? When he went to run, when Austin went to run for senator in Missouri, most people told him, run as a Republican, it's the only way to win. Run as a Republican, the only way to win. I was one of the guys who said, don't do it, man. Run as a Libertarian, right? If you lose as a Libertarian, first up, there was no chance of Austin Peterson losing the primary in 2018, Libertarian primary in Missouri. Not one Libertarian could have beat him. Probably the entire country could have beat him at that point. I mean, he was popular. People knew who he was. He was going to win the primary easily. So that means he would have been in the general election if he had run Libertarian. The odds are he would have lost. Absolutely true. But if he had won, oh my God, it's hitting the lotto, right? If he would have won, that's winning the lottery. And if he loses, but he gets, I think he got 7%, if I'm not mistaken, in his primary. If he had got 7 or 8% in the general election, he's a hero. So I thought he should have stayed. I wish he would have stayed. I wanted him to stay. He didn't want to stay. I would take him back if he wanted to come back, but he doesn't want to come back. He wants to stay and do Tea Party 2.0 and stay Republican. All right. I think that's an error too. But what are you going to do? If he ever wants to put his hand back out over here, my hand's open. My hand's open. I'm happy to bring him back if he wants to come back. but I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he is. And you might say, well, Larry, why would you want a guy like Austin who's yelled and said so many bad things about the Libertarian Party? He has. There's no question. He's a lot of bad things. And he's mad. I get it. He's mad. We need talent. We need talent. And it's a radio show. We need popular people. And whether you like him or hate him, the guy's a good debater. He speaks very well. He's fearless. Why wouldn't I want one of those soldiers in my army? I would want one. So just my view. People disagree. I know people don't like him. And I don't think he's coming back anyway. I think it's kind of it's an interesting, I guess, theoretical conversation. He's not coming back. We've lost him. That's it. He's gone. What do you do? It is what it is. We move on. We took casualties and we keep moving on. And we do. So I hope that answers your question at least. So yeah. All right. I think it was BS. He's way too deep back in the GOP. He's done. Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I think he's done. I agree. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, guys, I want to say thank you so much for today. I appreciate all the time you guys gave me today. I appreciate it. Please always like, comment, and share. Let people know you watch this. If you've got some cash, support me. This stuff matters. I spend a lot of time doing this. I have to pay people to help me out on my team too. So it does take time. All of this does take time. It does take money. If you want to support me, you want to do more of this, please support me to the best of your ability. Head over to patreon.com/Sharpe Way. If you got some big dollars coming in, if you're doing well, and some people are, throw me $100 a month. It's not going to kill you. You can do it if you got the kind of money. If you don't have it, no worries. $10 at work, $25 at work. If you don't have either of those, no problem. No problem. Take theadvocates.org. Share it. Support my sponsor instead. Nowhere. That's free. You can do that without having to give me a dime. Support my sponsor instead. Theadvocates.org. Take the test and share it. That's a critical piece. Take it, share it. Now we're rocking and rolling. Guys, thank you so much for today. I appreciate it. I will see you all